Welcome to MD Bytes. In this video, you're going to watch how index and match functions work in Google Sheet. Index function provides a cell value based on the row number and column number we provide, whereas match function provides the position of a search key from an array, either it is a row or column. In this worksheet, we are going to apply two set of exercise where we are going to use match function and index function separately in here, and then in the second set of exercise, we are going to add the list type. We are going to bring all the cloth types from the row headers from here to the cloth type cell as a list, and for size we are going to bring all the column headers as the list, and then we are going to identify the price of a product based on these two index and match functions by combining both, and we are going to use those two functions as a nested function, and we are going to find out the price of the product. Now let us start with the first example to determine the position of a value from the row headers. So now we are going to start with equals, and then I'm going to click MA, so then I can find out a set of functions provided in here and select the match function. So once I select, I can see the syntax and the structure with an example of match function. Here we have three arguments: search key, range, and search type. And here you got the example in here. We are going to search for, here is an example to search for Sunday from an array, and the search type. So here the search type is optional. Search key is the one for we are going to search for, range where we are going to search for, and the search type is an exact match or approximate match. So now we are going to start the function for our exercise. Here we have match function already opened. Now we are going to give the search key, the first argument. So first argument I'm going to apply directly as a text value. So now I just type gloves as the first search key type as a first argument within double quotes, whereas because I'm going to give it as a text value. So now I just give a comma and go for the second argument. So now the second argument should be the range, which means where I'm going to search for this value. So this is the values in where I'm going to search for the text gloves, and now I'm moving to the next argument by giving a comma. So now it is search type. I want this search type to be an exact match, so I just give 0. So now I close the function, and then if I enter, it will find out the position of the gloves in these values, in these array. So now I just enter. So now I can find out the value of the position for the text, or you can call it as search key from the array. So the first one is the answer, which means the gloves is in the first position of the array where I search for. Now I move on to the second exercise of match function and just clicking equals. Now again I just press MA so that I can find match function again. I just open the match function. Now for search key, I'm going to give another text where it is going to be small. Let us take a small as the text example, search key example, and I'm going to search this small text in the range where I got the column headers. The column headers are, you can find here. So from cell column C2 to G2 we have the column headers. I'm going to search for the text value small in these array, and then I'm going to make it as search type exact match. So now if I press enter, I will get the answer of the position where this small text is present in the array. The answer is 2. As you can see, the text value small is in the second position of the array. So now we are going to apply these two values obtained using match function in our next exercise of index function. We are going to apply these two as our row number and column number, and we are going to bring the price value of the product. So I start with equals, and I type in to start the index function. So you can find out the index function in here, and you can see the definition here: content of a cell specified by row and column offset. We are going to identify a cell based on the row number and column number, which we have already identified using match function. So now I just open the index function, and here again you have three arguments: reference, row, and column. So here we are going to provide the reference as the first argument, which is going to be the price values of the product. These are the cells, we have the price values, and this is going to be our first argument of index function. So now I just give comma and I move on to the next argument, which is the row number which we have in here in cell B10. So cell B10, which we identify using match function, will be our first, and C10 will be the third argument, which is the column number. So now I'm going to close. I have closed it. Now if I enter, it will bring the answer will be brought from here, the value of gloves, which is in the small size, the price value of this category will be brought in. Yeah, we got the answer $4.25. You can see the size small of gloves is $4.25. And this is how match and index function applied separately to determine the position of a cell or the cell value from a range. Now we move on to the next exercise. We are going to use list, and we are going to determine the price by making both match and index function as a combined formula, or we can call it as nested function. So here we are going to bring the list for cloth type and size, and we are going to determine the price value of the product and size. And here all these row headers will be brought into a list in the form of list in here in this cell, and for size we are going to bring all these column headers as a list. To make a list in Google Sheet, just select the cell and make a right click and move on to the last option. You will find data validation as an option. So just click on data validation and you will find this dialog box where we need to set up the criteria. So the criteria in here, you can find the list of criteria where we need to select list from a range. So we're going to find out the range in here. We're going to set up the range. For the row headers are the range in here. So I just select all the cells of row headers, which is cloth types, which is in cell B3 to B7. Now we have set it up and we click OK. So the criteria for setting up the data validation for making list is done. I just click save. So now you can find all those cloth types have been added as in the form of list in here for this cell. So now we move on to the next cell, which is size. Make a right click and move to data validation option. Just click on data validation and you will find this data dialog box in here where we need to set up the criteria. Again, I select the same option for list from range, but in here we are needed to add the column headers as the values, which is from C2 to G2. Now I just click OK, where all those size categories have been added. Now we move on to the dialog box again where everything is set it up right, and just click save. So now you can find the categories of sizes as well in here. So now we have the cloth types and sizes in the form of list in here, and based on these two values we need to determine the price from the range. So for that we need to insert both these match and index function by using the text values in cloth type and size. So just for that I just click equals, and we are going to start with index function first. So I just type in. You can find the index function in the list of function popping up there, and for range, for reference, you need to select all those price values in here from C3 to G7. So this is the range where we are going to search for a value. Now for row number and column number we need to set up two separate match functions. So now let me start with a match function for row number alone. So I just type match and open a bracket, and now we need to set up the search key. So search key is the text value which I need to pass from here. So here based on the selection in the list, whatever it may be, that text will be my search key. So I just select the value which is in I5 as a first argument, which is search key, and give a comma. I go for range. I select the range from the row headers. So I need to find out the position of jeans in here as of now, and then I move on to the next argument, which is search type. I'm going to set up this as exact match, so I'm just giving 0. So now I close the bracket for the first match function where I have set it up the syntax to identify the row number. Now we move on to the next match function where I'm going to set up the criteria for column number by having another match function. So I just click match again. I just open a bracket in here to set up the criteria for this match function. So I have to set up the search key. The size is going to be my search key in this match function. So size is in J5, where this value is going to be searched in the column headers. The column headers will be the range for this match function. So I just go back to cell C2 to G2. So from here, this text has to be searched and the position must be found. So that will be the column number for the index function. So now again I set up this as the exact match search type, which has to be matched exactly. So now I am closing the match function for the column number, and now I can close the index function as well. So now I have set up the index function with reference and row number and column number. The reference is from C3 to G7, and match function is to identify the row number and column number both. So here the values will be brought from matching up the values of these two match function, and the values will be taken from I5 and J5 as the search key for the match functions, and it will search in the reference from C3 to G7. So now you can find the value $27 for the cloth type jeans large. Let us have a look. So jeans large is $27. Exactly, it matches. So it works. So you can also turn with some other values, like I select polo shirt and I leave the size as large. So polo shirt large is $16.5. So you can see the value exactly matches with the value. So now I move on to the next one more option, which I select skirt and I select the size as small. So I just check the value. Skirt small is $12.5. It exactly matches. So this is how we apply index and match function in Google Sheet.